Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you a guide on how to automatically farm gems in the background in the 4 Heroes of Light, because you need a lot of gems in this game, whether it be for upgrading your crowns or just upgrading your equipment in general. So today I'm going to show you a method I discovered where you can just have the game in the background and do basically nothing while the game farms the gems for you. Now you are going to need some equipment for this, which you can find in the Urbeth multiplayer shop here. And if we go into the price shop here, you'll see that the Hermes sandals are on sale here for 6,000 multiplayer points, which I know is a lot of points to obtain. But if you can't afford that right now, I'll show you how to grind that out in this video as well, because doing this method will also grind you out multiplayer points. Now, it's not the best way to farm multiplayer points technically, but if you're playing the game solo, yeah, this is pretty much the best way to do it without actually having another cartridge of the game. So let me actually go into my setup here. So I have basically 2 merchants, both of them with the Hermes sandals there, as you can see. There's one, and there's the other one here. And then for my other 2 characters, I have them both as Wayfarers, as you'll see right here. And that's basically the whole setup. And for abilities, the only thing you're going to need is Keeper. You could use Finder, but in my opinion, I'd rather go for Keeper, because even though Finder has a chance of finding you a gem every encounter, Finder's chances are so low that I'd rather go with Keeper anyways if you're just keeping the game on the background and you're not really paying attention to it. But if you really want to go for max efficiency, technically Finder might be a little bit better, but like I said, I go for Keeper. And then for both of the Wayfarers, all I have is Escape. That's it. That's all you're going to need to set this up. So now, at this point, we're going to want to get into our first battle, and this is the only battle you're really going to have to manually do some inputs here. In fact, I'm going to turn off my auto battle when I get in here. In a moment here. So once you get into battle, you're going to want to press X to go into auto mode. And then you want to go to Keeper, Keeper, Escape, Escape. So what's going on here is that both of your merchants are going to use Keeper, and they're going to find something. Usually, one of them will find something. There's a high chance both of them will. That time I got very unlucky. And then after that, you escape. Normally when you use Escape, that would take priority above any other action, making it always go first, except if there's a character who has the Hermes sandals equipped. That's why optimally we run 2 Hermes sandals on both of our merchants, so we can always find gems first and then immediately after leave the encounter. And the reason why we run 2 other Wayfarers instead of 3 merchants is because we always want to have Escape available. Having 2 Wayfarers in the party both using Escape will always guarantee you have enough AP to actually use Escape, because when you go into a battle where you're using Escape, the game will prioritize using Escape from the character that has the most AP. Because of this, the other character will not be taking an action, therefore gaining more AP, which means they'll have more AP than the previous character that just used Escape, and from there we can infinitely loop the Escape command. Also, every time you enter a battle and escape it, you'll gain 5 multiplayer points. So if you can't afford the Hermes sandals yet, then just use the 2 Wayfarers and infinitely run away from every battle, and eventually you'll be able to afford them. So now that I've explained the whole battle setup, let me actually show you how I set up my DS so I infinitely get into these battles. I'm at Liberté Port, and this is one of the places I like to do my gem farming at. In particular, we want to go into this corner right here, and I already have my auto battle set up, so I'm going to show you how I set up my Nintendo DS here. I just like to find something to just put on the touchscreen here, like this Pokemon deck box, where it's gently touching it enough where the game will always detect a touchscreen input, and because of that, it'll always just instantly be walking in that corner there infinitely. And then on top of that, because I'm always doing an input technically, it'll skip the little intro that usually plays in battles where it shows every monster kind of spawning in. It'll automatically skip that. Now if you're playing on an emulator, I'm not exactly sure how to replicate this. I would figure out some way where you're always doing it like a touchscreen input, but honestly, if you're playing on emulator, there's probably some way where you can speed this up even more, and also probably program like an input or something like that. I don't know. I don't really mess with emulators, so yeah. But basically that's what I do. I find something where I can prop it up on my Nintendo DS so it's lightly touching a corner of it, and from there you just leave your DS on, and because you're always holding that input to that corner there, you'll always be infinitely walking, and therefore you'll always get into an infinite amount of encounters in the background. Now, Liberté Port here is a really good place if you want to grind for rubies and topazes. If you want emeralds, sapphires, and lapises, outside of Urbeth is a pretty good spot for that, but if you're not finding enough emeralds or lapises, then I recommend you go to this part of NVIDIA right here, and this is where I actually also grind for aquamarines, because aquamarines are very common here. Also, very rarely, no matter where you are on the map, metal plants can spawn, and when they do, you can get a amethyst off of them, which is really nice, but it is a very rare encounter, so I would not count on it. Alright, I've kept my game on for a few hours. I think I kept it on about 3 hours at NVIDIA and about 2 hours at Urbeth here. Now, keep in mind that I think it might take a little bit longer at each. I'd say about 4 hours at each if you're looking to get max gems, so just leave your game on the background. It might happen sooner than that. I'm not 100% sure. I've never really timed these things. That's usually, in my experience, after checking in on the game after like 3 or 4 hours, usually my gem count looks like this, where I have max of basically every basic gem, and then sometimes I'll have a few more amethysts than usual, and that's basically what I do to farm gems in this game. I just leave it on, let it do its thing, and you don't even have to check in on it technically. As long as your DS is plugged into a charger, you're basically golden. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for people trying to farm gems in this game, because yeah, it takes a lot of gems to basically 100% this game if you're going that crazy for it. So I hope this guide has been helpful. Bye!